Welcome back to the Gnostic Informant, and you are about to attain true gnosis. And today I want to talk about Jordan Peterson. And there's a backstory behind this to get people up to speed on why I want to talk about Jordan Peterson today. So it starts off with about 2 weeks ago, the Pope himself tweeted out that social justice demands that we fight against the causes of poverty, inequality, and the lack of labor, land, and lodging, against those who deny social and labor rights, and against the culture that leads to taking away the dignity of others. Wow. Um, you know, popes from earlier times wouldn't say things like this. Popes were a lot more right wing, especially during the 1940s when they pretty much decided that they were going to align with the Nazis. And, well, that's a whole nother topic, whole nother discussion. But this pope right here is a lot more progressive than other popes have been. I'm not saying that I'm like pro Catholic Church or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. I'm not letting the Catholic Church go for the centuries of patriarchy and nonsense and that, but that's a whole nother topic. We're going to leave that alone. That was a tweet. Jordan Peterson surprisingly wants to combat that. Well, I shouldn't say surprisingly. Not surprisingly at all. But here's what he has to say about that. There's nothing Christian about social justice. Redemptive salvation is a matter of the individual soul. Huh. Now, I would have let this alone because Daniel McClellan actually destroyed this, ripped it apart. I'm going to play that real quick and go and find Daniel McClellan on YouTube and subscribe. I'm going to play the clip just so you can see what he said about it, because I can't even top this. This is just, he's the expert. He knows what he's talking about. So I'm going to play that clip right now.
Hey everybody, at 1 o'clock this morning, Jordan Peterson decided to take on the Pope on Twitter. A little over a week ago, the Pope tweeted that social justice demands that we fight against the causes of poverty, and Dr. Peterson tweeted, "There is nothing Christian about social justice. Redemptive salvation is a matter of the individual soul." Now, there's a sense in which Dr. Peterson is right and a sense in which Dr. Peterson is wrong. Dr. Peterson is right insofar as he conceptualizes Christianity as that christofascist faction within Christianity, that individualistic, selfish, greedy renegotiation of the Christian gospel, which does not remotely constitute all of Christianity, but it's absolutely there. Now, Dr. Peterson is wrong in the sense that there is not a single syllable of Christian scripture that supports the notion that salvation is achievable in the absence of, and even in opposition to, social justice. Social justice is all over the Bible. It's all over the Hebrew Bible. It's all over the New Testament. The gospel authors repeatedly represent Jesus as condemning a refusal to engage in social justice. So while there is absolutely a Christofascist faction within the broader world of Christianity that thinks this way, that thinking is a direct rejection of the gospel as presented in Christian scripture. It's just contemporary right-wing authoritarian identity politics.
Now, I thought when I saw that, bam, just slam dunk, destroyed him. And there was nothing else to be said. That was it. That's the end of this. The expert came in and schooled the non-expert on some of this stuff. But of course, Jordan Peterson, he heard the term christofascist and it triggered him for some reason. So he came back and said, well, first, before this even happened, he said, take that, pontifex, because the Catholic Herald website made an article about Jordan Peterson, and he's all, look at, haha, your Catholics like me more than they like you, ha ha ha, basically laughing at the situation. But just that was that's sidetrack. But so the Daniel McClellan thing, he responds to that today, and let me just try to find it. I think I have it here somewhere. Yeah, here it is. Christofascists. Enough said about this scholar, in quotes. Everything in its subsidiary place. Man and women exist in relationship to each other and to family, community, state, nation, up the Jacob's ladder hierarchy to the highest reaches of heaven. That's true. But it's not social justice. It's only the leftists hell-bent on dementing Christianity to their own ends, claim otherwise, period. So this was today, and this is what made me want to do this video, because he knows that he's wrong. He knows this is wrong. He's a big Nietzsche pusher. He's one of those guys that are always talking about how smart and great Nietzsche is. And so I wanted to sort of go into those depths a little bit, look into some of these Bible verses a little bit, and just prove that Jordan Peterson's just flat wrong about this. I mean, Christianity is it's part of its main morals, I guess, is social justice. I mean, let's start with James. Let me share my screen real quick. The book of James is a pretty good, and I'll even get to the words of Jesus himself. We'll see what he has to say about all this. But first, let's start off with James. And James has a passage on works, doing good works. This is what it says. What does it profit, my brethren, if someone says he has faith but does not have works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister is naked or destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, depart in peace, be warned and be filled, but you do not give them the things which are needed for the body, what does it profit? Thus also, faith by itself does not have any works, is dead. But someone will say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without your works, and I will show you my faith by my works. You believe that there is one God. This is actually a verse that I like, even as an atheist. I like this verse because you do well to believe in one God. Even the demons believe that and tremble. Even fucking demons believe in God. Who gives a shit about that? But do you want to know, oh foolish man, that faith without works is dead? Like, whoo! Like, that doesn't get any more clear than that right there. He said, even the demons believe in one God. Who cares? Who gives a shit about that? Where's your works at? Like, what are you doing? What are you doing to make the world better, right? And so there's that. Then we could talk about Acts, right? So Acts, book of Acts, it's 4 and 5 in particular, and this is going to lead up to what some of the other evidence that I look outside of the Bible, just looking at early Christianity in general and how they lived their lives. They were emulating this stuff. So when you look at Acts, right, the end of chapter 4 says all the believers were in one heart and mind, and no one claimed that any of their possessions was their own. They shared everything they had. You know, Jordan Peterson, equality of opportunity, not outcome. It's all about equality of opportunity, not outcome. No, this is all about equality of outcome. The early Christians were about equality of outcome, straight up. Nothing, no, they weren't playing around. Pure equality. With great power, the apostles continued to testify of the resurrection of the Lord, and grace was so powerfully worked in them. And there is no needy persons among them. From the time to time, those who owned land or houses sold them, brought the money from the sales, and put it at the apostles' feet, and it was distributed to anyone who had need. Where's the Christians at today doing this? I don't see them. Joseph, a Levite from Cyprus, whom the apostles called Barnabas, son of encouragement, sold a field he owned and brought the money and put it at the apostles' feet. Next chapter. Look at this. This is what happens when you don't do that, right? A man named Ananias, together with his wife Sapphira, sold a piece of property with his wife's full knowledge. He kept back part of the money for himself and brought the rest of it. So most of the money that he sold, he gives it to the apostles and keeps a little bit for himself. Nuh-uh. We're talking about equality of outcome here. Peter said, Ananias, how is it that Satan has filled your heart, that you have lied to the Holy Spirit and kept some for yourself, and of the money you received for the land? Didn't it belong to you before it was sold? And after it was sold, wasn't the money at your disposal? What made you think of doing such a thing? You have not lied just to human beings, but to God. When Ananias heard this, he fell down and died. Like, what? This isn't This isn't capitalism. This is inequality of opportunity. This is the real deal. And so I just wanted to highlight that. And there's actually one more I want to show from the Bible, and then I'm going to go outside the Bible because I got a lot on this. So the next one I want to show is the parable of the workers in the vineyard from Matthew. This is the mouth of Jesus, guys. This is the mouth of Jesus, all right? The kingdom of heaven, he says, is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. You know what? Before I even play this clip, or before I even read this, I'm not even looking at the comments, so hold on one second. I'm trying to, I just want to get this out there, and I'll look at the comments in 1 second. Before I even read this parable, we have to play a clip from Jordan Peterson for a second, because I want to set up Jordan Peterson not knowing, if he's gonna use the Bible or Christianity as some sort of argument against social justice, he's wrong. Okay, that's all I'm trying to show here. So before I even get to this, let me play a clip from Jordan Peterson talking about equality of outcome. And just give me 1 second to pull this up. All right, here it is.
Equality, equity, that's worse, right? Equity means equality of outcome. It means that every single organization has 50% women and 50% men. Doesn't matter whether the men and women differ in their intrinsic preferences, which, by the way, they do. The scientific literature on that is completely clear. It was established by the early 90s. It was established in the Scandinavian countries, where they've done most to flatten out the socioeconomic differential, say, between men and women. Didn't get rid of the differences between men and women. In fact, they became exaggerated. The biggest personality differences in the world between men and women are in Scandinavia, just as the biggest differences in interest between men and women are in Scandinavia. Because when you get rid of the sociocultural differences between men and women, the biological differences don't disappear, they maximize. How else could it be? And as I said, the literature on that is clear, and the way that the postmodernist radicals react to that is by criticizing the scientific method itself on their computers, which only work, of course, because the scientific method actually works.
I wonder if he was going to use that argument for talking about climate change. It's, something that he doesn't really care about that much. But where's the scientific method at when we talk about things like climate change and, or gender? He doesn't care about what scientists say about that either. But for whatever reason, I guess in economic theories, he's got his and by the way, I'm not an expert in economics. I went to school for 4 years for it. He's wrong about this too. I don't even know where he's getting this from. This is not maybe he's got a source for this, but I don't know. I don't know what he's saying, because what I was taught in going to school for economics is that the more you help the bottom, the more everyone benefits, because people. That's not. I'm not an expert, so who cares what I said anyway? But anyway, let's just keep going. Let's just get back to the Christianity thing.
So,
it's skipping.
You hear the egalitarian clarion call everywhere. Everything should be equal. Everything should be equally distributed. We should strive for equity. It's like, wrong. Especially if you're a conservative. Wrong. What we want are just hierarchies of competence.
All right.
All
right. That's all you needed to hear, because that's always he's going to keep repeating himself. He'll talk about how equality of opportunity is good, equality of outcome is bad, and he'll talk about that. But what is he? So if he's going to attack the Pope, so anyone who just jumped in, we're just going to quickly recap what I've been saying. The Pope came out and said that social justice demands that we fight against causes of poverty, inequality, lack of labor. He came out and said this, and Jordan Peterson said there's nothing Christian about social justice. All right? Just want to get everyone up to speed. So then I wanted to show the clip of him talking about, equality of outcome is so bad. But here's what does Jesus have to say about equality of opportunity and outcome? This is right to the point. Jesus has direct opinion on this from Matthew. It says, for the kingdom of heaven is like a landowner who went out early in the morning to hire workers for his vineyard. He agreed to pay them a denarius for the day. He agreed to pay them a denarius for the day. Highlight that. He agreed to pay them for a denarius for the day and sent them into his vineyard. Above 9 in the morning, he went out and saw others standing in the marketplace doing nothing. People looking for jobs. They're in the unemployment line. He said, "You also go work in the vineyard, and I will pay you whatever is right." And they went. And he went out again at noon. 3 in the afternoon, did the same thing. 5 in the afternoon, went out and found still others standing around. "Why are you standing here? I got money. Let's do this." Right? So, because no one has hired us. So they're all getting hired at different times, and they're all jumping in there. Evening came. The owner of the vineyard said to his foreman, "Call the workers and pay them their wages, beginning with the last ones hired and going to the first one." The workers who were hired about 5 in the afternoon came and received a denarius. Remember, he said that. He said, "I agreed to pay them a denarius for the day." That was it. That's what he said. So everybody got their denarius. And so those who were hired last only worked 1 hour. And they grumbled against the landowner. "You have made them equal to us who have borne the burden of the work of the heat of the day." What do you mean? We're outperforming these motherfuckers. Why are they getting the same pay as us? That's not fair. That's not equality. That's equality of outcome. That's exactly what equality of outcome is. He answered, "I am not being unfair to you. Didn't you agree to work for a denarius? Take your pay and go. I want to give the one who has hired last the same as I gave you. Don't I have the right to do what I want? I want my money." That's a capitalist thing right there, I guess. Whatever. Let's be real. It's in the text. So the last will be the first, and the first will be last. That is purely equality of outcome right there. The last will be first, and the first will be last. Everybody is equal. Period. And I just think it's funny how Jordan Peterson wants to use Christianity as something that's has nothing to do with social justice, but it goes even deeper than that, because a lot of the critics of Christianity, some of the early Christians that we know about. For example, I'll talk about this one group called the Carpocratians. They live in Alexandria, Egypt, and they were known for following the verses that I just showed you to a T. So Acts 4 and 5, if you came to the community of the Carpocratians and you wanted to live amongst them and you wanted to get baptized and become a Christian, you had to give all of your money to them. And then that money was used for the greater good of the whole community. You became part of the community and everybody lived equally. It was literally a communist setting. Everybody shared their belongings. Everybody shared their wealth, shared their land. That's how the Carpocratians lived. We have tons of documentation about this group from early Christians. Also, so this is how Christians were living. They hated capitalism. So we have evidence of Christians living on pillars, living on top of pillars for 30 years and just exiting out of society because they didn't want to be part of the capitalist war, the hustle and bustle. They just wanted to dedicate their lives to Christ and just sit there and pray all day and just live off people donating, asking for food and stuff. That was called being a real Christian. So you can look into that yourself. Just look up like Christian living on pillar. This is how Christians were. This is how Christians lived. And you know how Jordan Peterson is always pushing Nietzsche. He loves Nietzsche. He talks about Nietzsche. Oh, Nietzsche hated. He loves quoting from "Thus Spoke Zarathustra." "You preachers of equality," which is right. Nietzsche had that mentality. He also criticized Christianity for not having that mentality. This is what Nietzsche has to say. Christianity is called the religion of pity. Pity stands in opposition to all tonic passions that augment the energy of the feeling of aliveness. It is a depressant. A man loses power when he pities. Though pity that drain upon strength, which suffering works, is multiplied then 1,000-fold. Suffering is made contagious by pity. Under certain circumstances, it may lead to a total sacrifice of life and living energy, a loss of all proportion to the magnitude of the cause. The case of the death of the Nazarene. This is the first view of it. There is, however, a still more important one. If one measures the effects of pity by the gravity of reactions it sets up, its character as a menace to life appears in a much clearer light. Pity thwarts the whole law of evolution, which is the law of natural selection. It preserves whatever is ripe for destruction. It fights on the side of those disinherited and condemned by life, by maintaining life in so many of the botched of all kinds. It gives life a gloomy and dubious aspect. Mankind has ventured to call pity a virtue. In every superior moral system, it appears as a weakness. And I got one more from Nietzsche real quick. He says, we should not deck out and embellish Christianity. It has waged a war to death against this higher type of man. It has put all the deepest instincts of this type under its ban. It has developed its concept of evil, of the evil one himself. Out of these instincts, the strong man as the typical reprobate, the outcast among men. Christianity has taken the parts of all the weak, the low, the botched. It has made an ideal out of antagonism to the self-preservative instincts of sound life. It has corrupted even the faculties of those natures that are intellectually most vigorous by representing the highest intellectual values of sin as sinful, as misleading, as full of temptation. The most lamentable example, the corruption of Pascal, who believed that his intellect had been destroyed by original sin, whereas it was actually destroyed by Christianity. Now, I'm using Nietzsche because Jordan Peterson and his fan base are big into Nietzsche. They love Nietzsche when it's relevant. But they won't. But then they'll contradict themselves and say Christianity has nothing to do with social justice. Well, that's not what your boy Nietzsche is saying. One more I got real quick from Van Loon. This is after that. This is like early 1900s. He says communism as an economic system is nothing new. The old monastic orders of Christianity were really communistic institutions, and they in turn were based upon the communism of early Christian church, which recognized neither rich nor poor and did not believe in private property. The Pilgrims, when they came to America, intended to form a communistic community, but all these efforts to bring about a more equitable division of this world's goods had been conducted on a relatively small basis. They had never touched the lives of the people at large, and there is where the Bolshevist experiment differs from all others. It has turned the whole of the Russian plain from the Baltic into a Pacific into one vast political and economic laboratory where everybody is supposed to work for just one purpose, the well-being and happiness of the mass, regardless of the present happiness and well-being of individuals. Your boy loves talking about individuals versus the collective, right? That's Jordan Peterson. But just as in the older days, it was never quite possible for a Russian to rid himself of that duality of character, which has been caused by the dual nature of his country. Half Asiatic, half European. So, wow, this is out there. This is outdated. So, so the new Russian too is suffering from a conflict of enthusiasms, which were frequently defeat of their own ends. The basic structure of the new Soviet society is undoubtedly European. He's basically saying that communism, that's not new. The Christians were always doing this. The monastic orders all throughout Greece and Turkey and all the Orthodox Church have those monastic communities. They were all living like this. That's actually true too. The Christian world had a lot of these monastic places where people lived in communal lives. Everybody lived equally. So it's just funny to me how the more Christian, when we actually look at the text, the words from Jesus, the words from James, the words from Acts, when we look at the early Christians like the Carpo-Cratians living communal lifestyles, monastic lifestyles, and it was all about social justice. It was all about feeding the poor. Now, you might sit there and be like, What about the Christians right now? They're not living like that. Of course not. Because that type of Christianity, that like hardcore Christianity, that doesn't survive. That's not going to make it. It's the Christianity we see today, and especially in America, where it's like conservative, capitalist, those type of Christians that's the type of Christianity that will survive throughout decades and centuries. So it's obviously they're not living that way. So in some sense that he's right. And like Daniel McClellan pointed out, the christofascists that we see today are completely they cherry pick the verses that they like. Like, I'll give you an example. I'll throw an alley-oop over to the other side real quick. You have the verse about you have the verse where Jesus is getting his feet rubbed and anointed, and she says, and all his apostles say, we could have sold that perfume to feed the poor. And Jesus is like, bruh, this is way more important than that. It's like the Christians today love that verse. Who cares about feeding the poor? You see, Jesus said it, and they'll weigh that one verse against all these other verses as if that is like somehow outweighs them. When really it had a different meaning to it. The meaning was Jesus wasn't going to be with them that long, and that it was more important to focus on him right now because he's about to go to the cross. Seriously, that's really what it came down to. But they love that verse because that verse gives them the authority to say, who cares about the poor? Jesus didn't care about the poor. So that's why you get these Christo-fascist mentalities. So yeah, obviously there is that issue. But I don't know. I thought I laid out my case right there. I want to know what you guys think. I'm going to go to the comments now and hear what you guys had to say about this. I just thought it was funny how you have Jordan Peterson. Oh, and one more thing about Jordan Peterson real quick. He's an idiot. He's a moron. He's a straight up moron. This guy is not smart. I used to be a huge Jordan Peterson fan when I was, in prison and coming out of prison and like, trying to fix my life. It was like Jordan Peterson was the guy. I have all his books behind me. Maps of Meaning, 12 Rules of Life, all that stuff. The more I started to learn, the more I realized he doesn't know what he's talking about. And I'll just give you a prime example. This, if someone's this dumb, then you shouldn't listen to anything they say. And I'll tell you what exactly I'm talking about. So look at this post right here. Jordan Peterson retweeted this post. It's from Dawn of the Dead. It says, when I was 18, I took male hormones so I could fit in better with my group. My group encouraged me to take TRT and ruin my body. It destroyed me. This is not uncommon. Me at 18 and me at 24. Some of you might be laughing right now looking at this because you recognize that the girl on the bottom is Shoe on Head, a famous YouTuber. This is a fake post. This is not a real scenario. Jordan Peterson just saw it and thought, oh, that's cool. Let me retweet it. Look at the comments. Look at this. Dude, come on, Jordan Peterson. I know you're online enough to recognize Shoe on Head. LMAO. Oh my God. I thought there was no way he actually retweeted this. Seriously? He didn't even know that it was he didn't even realize it was fake. That's bad. And he probably still has no idea what he's just up. Duh. Retweet. Duh. Like, bro, that was fake. Like, that is bad, bro. Like, you're retweeting shit that you're not even checking into. I would never listen to anything this guy has to say ever. Ever. That is just, that's ridiculous. So I just wanted to, I just thought that has nothing to do with the topic, but I just thought that was hilarious that he's retweeting shit that's not even real. He's retweeting fake tweets to make points on society, to make he's trying to say things about society that are not true. Like you have Matt Walsh trying to say that there's, I'm not even gonna get into this right now, but these people are dumb. And I'm sorry, if you watch my channel and you're on the conservative side, hey, I'm not hating on you. I'm just saying, find some smarter people to follow. That's all I'm saying. Michelle Lamato, thank you for the super chat. I appreciate it. Do you think Jordan Peterson believes in God? That is a good question. Because he's never actually said, I'm a Christian, I'm a Muslim, I'm Jewish, I'm this, I'm that. He tries to come at it with like this Jungian approach. Like, yeah, I'm Jungian. Like, I'm smart. I know what I'm, and it's all about symbolism. It's all about metaphor. There's deeper meaning behind it. These stories have power. We need these stories. Like, so it's almost like you almost want to wonder: is he an atheist that just wants it to be true? That he hopes it's true, or I don't know. Maybe he does believe in something. I have no idea. That is a really good question, because sometimes he acts like an atheist, sometimes he doesn't. And it seems like he leans on the side that he wishes there was some sort of divine justice that's going to take out all my enemies. Like, you can definitely see that fascist, I need a God that's going to kill all the degenerates and reprobates. That's right. We need that. The universe needs that. Like, he has that mentality. And like a lot of people have that mentality. I don't know what it is. You know what it is? I think people hate themselves so much that they want there to be some sort of outside force that just makes it right for them, like someone that saved them. You know what I mean? Jordan Peterson is probably one of those people. Max the Confessor, thank you for the super chat. Swag, let's go. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that. Let's see what else we got. Thanks for all the comments, by the way. Chat GPT, workers of the world unite. Well, that's what Jesus was saying. Jesus was saying, yo, get a job, get paid equal pay for everybody. Straight up. The Book of Acts, whoever wrote the Book of Acts, they say Luke wrote it, whoever the hell wrote it, he sure as hell said that people should live equally in community. He said, even if you sold your house and kept some of the money, you should die for that. Whoo! These were intense communists. These weren't just like socialists. These were straight up communists, right? Christians, early Christians, not Christians today. Super sticker. Ohms, thank you for the super sticker. I appreciate that. Motorhead says, why did church justify endorsed African slave trade and genocides of indigenous people globally? Yeah, because like I said, the type of Christianity that follows the book to a T does not survive as an entity, as a powerful entity. So the type of Christianity that's going to survive is the type of Christianity that cherry picks what they want to teach, and like those doesn't live by the book. So Christian empires, that's who's going to survive. They're not really like doing the book. They're not doing what the book tells them. They're doing what they need to do to survive. So slavery is one of those things that empires do to survive and get rich and prosper. Straight up. It's just a simple answer. They're just not, Christian empires are not following the Bible. They're not. And that's not to say that Christianity does not endorse slavery. It does. I'm not saying that. I'm saying like Christianity says, oh yeah, slaves, be nice to your masters, and masters, be nice to your... Yeah, it does that. It's endorsing slavery. So yeah, there's that too. Let me rephrase that actually. Number one is that Christianity endorses slavery. I should have said that right off the bat. But number two, all the good lovey-dovey, love your neighbor stuff, they're not doing that. Empires aren't doing that. They're cherry picking, and they're doing what they need to do to survive. Period. I hope that made sense. Because I think I might have made it seem like that Christianity doesn't actually endorse it. It does. And that's part of it. That's the main reason. GI, would you please do a Troy Parfit interview? Thanks for the super chat, Nadav. I don't know who that is, but send me an email. I'll check it out. Definitely check that out. Let's see what else we got. Great impression. Yeah, we need equality of opportunity, not quality of outcome. Yeah, it's just how much the dude contradicts himself so much. You know what else he did recently? He said he was talking to Joe Rogan, and he was talking about like what is, like, they were talking about the question of do you believe in God? Well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by believe? What do you mean by God? What do you mean by in? What do you mean? What do all these words mean? All these words mean so many things. It's like, okay, If you're going to act like all these words are so malleable and we can define them in so many ways, why is it then, when it comes to the question of what is a woman, why is it all of a sudden that words mean one thing? Simple. Women is this. Boom, 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 boom. Why all of a sudden does your philosophy of what do all these words mean? Why does that fly out the window all of a sudden when we talk about what a woman is? But when someone asks you a question about do you believe in God, this simple yes or no goes out the window and it becomes this big thing of defining definitions of words. Words can mean different things. We don't know. It all can mean anything. Like, you completely contradict yourself once you go from that, from things meaning multiple things to it's simple. It's either woman or man, huh? Like, you contradict yourself completely. And I lose all respect for you. Like, I have more respect for people who are bigots, who are across the board, what's the word? Consistent. I'm not saying I endorse people like that. I have more respect for them if they're consistent across the board for everything. But once you start like being inconsistent with your values and your philosophy, I just lose respect for you. You just lost all respect for me. I don't even want to. I'll never respect someone that way. Thank you for the super chat, Max the Confessor. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate this so much. Yeah, I appreciate that. Unlearning Economics talks to Matt Darling on the gender pay gap. Controlling for preferences makes no sense because there's no explanation why women go to school for lower paying jobs which require the same school time. Interesting. Matt Darling. Who's Matt Darling? Why does that name sound familiar? Huh. Yeah, I'll have to check that out. But that's something to think about. Yeah, with the gender gap thing, there is statistics. Like, this is statistically proven that in some fields there are men and women who, with the same credentials, have a pay gap for whatever the reason is. So, I mean, that's just facts. Like, there's statistics. It's evident that that's a thing. So, that's something Jordan Peterson would probably say, well, it's because it's a lot more difficult than you think. There's reasons why. There's different factors and reasons. You don't know all the. It's more complex than you think. But, like, it's complex when we talk about the gender pay gap. It's completely complex. But when we talk about other things, it's just simple. So, he contradicts himself in that sense. But I appreciate the super chat a lot. I pity the fool who pities. Oh, Motorhead once says, I'm citing Christian mistranslation and errors. Can you show me? Do you want to go to? You really want to? Let's go to the Greek then. Let's see what verse are you talking about? Motorhead, if you're still here, give me the verse and show me which mistranslation I'm citing. I'm curious to know if you just said that to just to say it, or if you actually have this completely different Greek translation that totally goes against what I'm saying. Because I highly doubt it. I'm just saying. But I'm open to hear it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You can prove me wrong right now. Show up right now. Put the verse in the comments, and let's look at the Greek. Let's see how different the translations are of what I'm citing over here. I would love to see that. Let's see what else the comments we got. Birdie Numb Nuts. Thank you for the super chat. You can bequeath them to your children as inherited property and make them slaves for life. But you must not rule over your fellow Israelites ruthlessly. Yeah. I've recently been coming along and saying we give too much of a pass to people who are cherry picking. Like, I'm sorry, but where I'm at right now is You're trying to salvage this book that honestly is just has been just such a net negative to society. And you want to cherry pick it and you want to twist the words and make it sound better than it really is. When in all actuality, this shit was bad. It endorses slavery, period. It endorses genocide, period. That's what it does. And also it others other people. Chosen people, bad people. People equal to animals. That's what it does. And people try to salvage it and make it and say, oh, we're going to pick which verses that we want to keep. And why? Why are we doing that? And then just so you know, you're the reason why these religions are surviving so long. Because you got people in the middle who are like, hey, I'm just a guy who believes, and I don't really believe all the intense stuff, but I'm just, you're the reason why the religion survives so long. That's really what it comes down to. It is. That's really what it is. So, oh, Caterpillar, thank you so much for joining. Appreciate that so much. Good to see you, by the way. Let's see what else we got. John, it's funny you said that because when I saw this today, I was not even looking for this. I was looking for the feud between him and the Pope, where he said, "Oh, I got you, Pope. Take that, Pontifex. Ha ha. Yeah." Like he doesn't. I was looking for this. I was looking for the drama, basically. I was looking for the Daniel McClellan stuff. I was looking for this, the christofascist. So I'm scrolling through his tweets. By the way, this guy's insane. He's insane. Jordan Peterson is insane. I'm telling you guys right now, he tweets every 5 minutes. Like, I bet you he's probably tweeted 20 times since I've started this live. And I'm not kidding. Like, he tweets every 5 minutes. So I had to hold on one second. I had to scroll through a million tweets to find all this stuff. And I saw this one. And I said, what is this? Because I recognized the girl Shoe Head. She's a YouTuber on the bottom. I'm like, wait a minute. When I was 18, I go, what? I was like, Shoe Head's not trans. What is this? And then I read the comments. And everyone's laughing at Jordan Peterson. Dude, are you a moron? This is a fake post and you're retweeting it. He's retweeting fake posts to make his commentaries on society. Like, that's just the worst it gets, dude. And that's not. And the more I'm thinking about the university, not the university, he lost his license to do psychiatry. And look, you could see why right away. Like, you don't have to be a genius to see why that happened. He's retweeting fake posts to make commentaries on society. He's living in a fake world. It's not real. The things he thinks that are real are not real. The problems of society that he thinks exist don't exist. I used to be a follower of this guy when I was like, because he's the self-help guru, Jordan Peterson. Clean up your room. Those type of principles can help somebody who's down in their luck, who's coming out of prison in a halfway house or something. He has a way of like really connecting with certain men. Like I was one of those people. The more educated I got, the more I realized how much this guy has no idea what he's talking about. And the more I realized he's driven by other things. He's driven by hatred of people, hatred of the world. And by the way, I'm look at someone who's dealt with drug addiction and had my ups and downs years ago, 5 years clean now. So when I heard that he checked in for rehab for benzos of all things, what? This is the guy talking about giving lectures on how to be all right with yourself, and how to not have anxiety, and how to clean your room and have dignity, but you're taking benzos. That's crazy. Like, you're living a double life, dude. Sorry. I'm not talking crap about anyone who has a problem with addiction, because I've been there. I'm not saying anything about that at all. But I'm saying, when you say one thing and you act one way and then do the exact opposite, you're a hypocrite. Period. You're telling people how to clean up their lives when your life is a mess, when your life is in shambles. You're taking benzos and having panic attacks, and you're freaking out behind the scenes. No, dude, you're a hypocrite. I'm not listening to anything you have to say ever again. You're done. You lost all my respect. And like, it just continues. This dude's tweeting 500 times a day. I'm not kidding. Look at his Twitter. Go to look at his Twitter right now and just scroll through his tweets. He's tweeting every 5 minutes. If you're sitting there tweeting every 5 minutes, something's wrong with you. Something's seriously wrong with you if you're sitting there tweeting all day long and not stop. Like, I get it. Like, you go on Twitter, you tweet a lot for like a period of time. Like, because you're on there, you're tweeting, you're responding. You might have your little spurts, like everyone does. But this guy is doing it 24 hours a day. Tweeting all day long. Something's wrong. Something's not right with that dude. I'm telling you, something's not right with that dude. So I saw this and I could not believe it. I could not believe it. And you're right, John. It took me all but 2 minutes to find something about how like, not to use the word dumb, but like, how unaware this guy is. It took me 2 seconds to find it. Max the Confessor, thank you for the super chat. We have Orthodox catechisms, and three-fourths of them are explaining the Beatitudes. Beatitudes is the Sermon on the Mount. And that's really what everyone's just kind of... It's like how I feel like every religion has that one section of scripture that they focus on the most. And for Christianity, it's the Beatitudes. For whatever reason. It's just, it is what it is. I think you'll find an antidote to suffering, The Metamorphosis of Jordan Peterson by Elephant Graveyard, very funny. I'll have to check it out. There's a book about Jordan Peterson that I was reading that was blowing my mind. I'm going to recommend it right now. You guys got to see this. So Jordan Peterson, The Devil and Its Due. I just found it. Okay, good. You guys got to see this book. I read like a big chunk of this book, and it's on point. This dude wrote a book called The Devil and His Due: How Jordan Peterson Plagiarizes Adolf Hitler. Now, some of you might be seeing that title and go, what? Come on. You might even be a critic of Jordan Peterson, and you're like, even I'm not even going that far. Read this book. This dude lays it out. He has like things that are written by Hitler, and like he puts them side by side with things that Jordan Peterson said, and it's the same shit. It's the same, like, degeneracy is evil, and the same bullshit talking points that you see from the Nazis is coming out of Jordan Peterson's mouth. Maybe I can see some of them in here. Can you guys see my screen? Okay, here we go. Adolf Hitler. Great liars are also great magicians. You got to give the devil his due. Okay, is that okay? Let me see. Let me see if I can find some examples in here. Peterson. I've studied Hitler a lot, and there's a bunch of things that you can't say about him. You can't say he was stupid. You can't say he was without artistic talent. You can't say that he was a poor organizer. Oh, geez, that's a lot to say about Hitler right there. You can't say he wasn't charismatic. I listen to him every night before I go to sleep. You can't say he did wonders of Germany's economy in the first part of his reign.
And so it's very necessary when you're dealing intelligently with a true monster that you give the devil his due.
Dude, that's crazy. I didn't even know he said that. I did not know he said that. Brent Weinstein says, "Yeah, yeah. So I think the thing that what I saw in your video was your argument was when he was losing, instead of putting a genocide in pause and
Winning the war, winning the war.
and winning, that he ratcheted up the genocide."
Yeah, I don't know if it really would be. I don't think it's necessary to fair to say that it was him who did it.
Oh my God, this is worse than I thought.
It wasn't him who did it, although I think he had a hand in it. It does appear to me, but that's what happened.
Like, that is like, you're apologizing for this shit now, bro. That's what it sounds like. But anyways, this guy put this together, man, and I'm not kidding. Like, he sold me. I'm not saying that. Here's some examples right here. Hitler: the race that fails to come through the tests will simply die. Peterson: a culture that doesn't hold the mother and child as sacred dies. Hitler: people degenerate. This is the part I remember reading this part now. People degenerate into an unthinking herd, which could be reduced to total subjection. Peterson: we're more like herd animals. We're pack of beasts of burden. The following examples are from Mein Kampf in a Toronto University lecture in which Peterson lauded Hitler's oratory skills. Hitler: an orator receives continuous guidance from the people before whom he speaks. This helps him to correct the different direction of his speech, for he can always gauge by the faces of his hearers how far they will follow and understand him, whether his words are producing the desired effect.
A good speaker is this variety of things. One is that he never talks to the crowd per se. You know, he picks out a specific individuals and talk to them, and they're sort of reflective of the crowd, and then you can tell if everyone's understanding. And another thing that the good speaker does is pay attention to the damned responses of the crowd.
He usually starts crying for it. He'll just start crying out of nowhere.
No!
I like randomly, like he's a mess, man.
You want to stay in touch with the nonverbal communications? Oh, Hitler, he's kind of a chaotic guy. I like that guy.
Like, it's true though. You got to admit, this is some shit right here. Hitler: human birth control wipes out the bearer of the highest values.
What's the highest value? Don't underestimate the significance of the birth control pill. It's like the hydrogen bomb.
Oh my God, dude. Hitler: abortion, thou of filth and fire. Peterson:
abortion is clearly wrong. I don't think anyone debates that.
I think people do debate that, Jordan. People definitely debate that. Hitler: for us, it was a filthy crime against the German people, a stab in the back of the German nation. Peterson:
if you betray trust, it's like the knife in the heart of the back.
Yeah, there's a lot. I'm just going to do one more, and then I'll be done with this. Peterson: there was a tremendous political
upheaval in Germany during the 1920s as well. I want to just set the stage for that. And the hyperinflation wiped out all the people that were prudent and saved and left the terrible sense that the entire system had betrayed them, which is, of course, exactly what had happened.
Hitler: I intensely loathed the whole gang of miserable party politicians who had betrayed the people. I had long ago realized that the interests of the nation played only a very small part with the disreputable crew, and that what counted for them the possibility of filling their own pockets. Damn, this guy's got all these quotes in here. Yeah, I recommend it. I really do. I think it's some of it's like, you're like, well, anyone will say that, but like some of it's like, yeah, that shit sounds like he's reading Mein Kampf, even if it's like not directly. He might just like agree with this. Like they both can be coming from natural thoughts, but they both are aligned in a certain way of how they see the world. That makes sense. That's as far as I would go. I'm not going to sit there and say that Jordan Peterson is like literally like a Hitler loving Nazi that like secretly wants the Nazi party to come back. But like, I will say that some of the ways that Hitler saw the world are some of the ways that Jordan Peterson sees the world, as far as degeneracy goes. That's that conservative mindset. That's that like ultra conservative mindset. Degeneracy. We gotta get rid of degeneracy. You know, we need the nuclear family is the only way. Like that type of mindset. You know, not to say that the nuclear family isn't bad. And people like that. You should have the option, live the own life that you want to live. You know, it's not just one way that works. There's millions of ways that works. But let's see what else we got for comments. Solomon Essex says, to me, Christianity is an outgrowth of Plato's noble lie. Absolutely. Christianity literally comes out of this middle Platonist world of the first century. And it's just, it fits right in with all these other first century religions. And I think, yeah, Platonism has affected everything. Platonism, all religions are in some way connected to Platonism in some way, if that makes sense. Like, even whether it's directly or indirectly, you know. Jesus was a type of Joshua. If he was born today, his name would be Josh. His dad was yeah, that's true. Joshua is Jesus. So, not Tove Kravitz, thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate it. You know, these super chats is what supports me, and so I can do this channel. I really appreciate it every time I get a super chat. Love it. Thank you, Nadav. GI, you mentioned an older vid, Troy Parfitt's book, The Devil. Yeah, this is obviously was this right before I pulled that up? That's crazy. This is so crazy. Yeah, I was just showing that book, obviously. That's God. It has to be God. God did that. Moses didn't exist. He definitely didn't exist. Maybe there was a guy named Moses, but it's not the guy leading an Exodus, that's for sure. I mean, there's just no evidence of that at all. Definitely wasn't an Abraham, that's for sure. I think Christianity starts becoming, or not Christianity, I think the Old Testament starts becoming historical after Solomon. So, the Book of Kings is like documenting like kings that lived in Jerusalem and kings that lived in the Northern Kingdom. And like, yeah, there's probably some history to that. But even that stuff probably, who knows, like even that stuff could be heavily legendary, you know. I don't know. What do you guys think about the Christianity thing being like the opposite of social justice? Wonder what you guys thought about my argument when I started this video out. You got to get more whiny grandma in your voice. You know what, Jordan Peterson? I shouldn't say I was that surprised when I found out about the benzo thing, because he's a nervous wreck. He'll just be talking about some random stuff. He'll just start crying. It's like his emotions are like this, like up and down, man. Like, oh man, I would not want to be like, and like, if that's the case, I'm not making fun of that at all. Please don't take that. Please don't take it me as like making fun of that. But like, if that's the case, people shouldn't be going to this person for wisdom. Like, you just shouldn't be, or let alone like advice on politics and who to vote for. Like, someone's got some mental issues going on. Like, I wouldn't be listening to that person as like this great philosopher of our time. I just don't see it. Jordan Peterson only cares about the Old Testament. He doesn't follow the New Testament. But it doesn't matter. He's talking to the Pope about Christianity. The Christianity is the New Testament. Dude Seller, look at. There's nothing Christian about social justice. He didn't say there's nothing Jewish about social justice. Which would be true if he said that. No offense to it, but that would be true if he said there's nothing Jewish about social justice. I'm just kidding. But no, that's what he said. He's talking about Christianity, dude Stellar. And I don't like. There's no other way to. Doesn't matter what he cares about. That's irrelevant to the topic. If he only, even if you were right, if he only cared about the Old Testament, he's talking about Christianity. So it doesn't matter. That has nothing to do with anything. Nadav Kravitz. Look up Troy Parfit's YouTube channel. Sure. Let's do it. I think I subscribed to it, actually. Troy Parfit's. Yeah. Go and subscribe, everybody. Let me see. Oh, he's got a video from Jordan Peterson for 3 weeks ago. Let's check it out. Hopefully I don't get dinged, but I'll play a couple seconds of it.
Oh, I tweeted out to Jacinda Ardern that I was coming to New Zealand with my army of alt-right wing trolls, which was clearly a joke, and that's also a complaint.
But even the way he just said that just now, that doesn't, like, you're trying to make it like a joke, but the way you just said that was not a joke. Like, you sound proud of that. You sound like proud of that.
Because I guess that sort of joke isn't funny when you're dealing with, woke progressives like Jacinda Ardern and Justin Trudeau.
The prime ministers of New Zealand and Canada don't appreciate jokes about being visited by an army of bigots, misogynists, lunatics.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was just going to say. Like, why would anyone find it funny that you have an army of alt-right bigots? Like, why would that be funny? But yeah, everyone should check this channel out. He's got it's all about Jordan Peterson. This dude is going in on Jordan Peterson. Look at this. You can't blame Hitler. Let's check this one out.
And I had a prophetic dream at that point, and I won't tell you the details of that, but it outlined
what?
Third
prophetic dream? He always says shit like this. I shouldn't be surprised.
Path to me that I had already picked up to some degree from reading Jung, and also Erich Neumann, who is one of Jung's great students.
This is Jordan Peterson stumping for the third path, or in German, Der Dritte Weg, a neo-Nazi organization founded in Heidelberg in 2013. For anyone thinking that can't be what he's referring to, you're taking him out of context, I ask you, what's the context? Please cite or summarize the surrounding text I'm supposedly manipulating or omitting. Go on then, take your time. That's what I thought. Kindly allow me to provide some context. Peterson's advocacy for the third path is embedded within a discussion about Nazism that includes praise for Hitler. It's possible that he has in mind another third path, but given the context I just outlined, along with the hundreds of pro-Nazi remarks Peterson has made since at least 1996, along with his claim that all his work is predicated on atrocities like the Holocaust, I doubt it. Regarding the psychoanalysts Carl Jung and Erich Neumann, they struck up a friendship in the shadow of the newly minted Third Reich. As for Jung's connections to National Socialism, I've spoken about them in other videos and have written about them extensively in my book, The Devil and His Due: How Jordan Peterson Plagiarizes Adolf Hitler. Concerning Neumann's connections to Nazi Germany, he was born in Germany, lived in Berlin, and was working toward his medical degree when Hitler seized power. Being Jewish, he was forbidden from completing his practicum year, and thus his program. He fled with his wife to Tel Aviv, where he practiced Jungian psychology, wrote books marked by religious mysticism, and kept in touch with Jung until he, Neumann, died in 1960. One of Neumann's letters to Jung outlined a dream he had wherein he was an old pilgrim being hunted by Nazis. Jung replied by saying he believed Hitler was like Wotan, or Odin, a theory he turned into a compelling essay called Wotan, which he published in 1936, and which Peterson...
Wow, I didn't know that. Is there really an essay called Wotan about Hitler from Carl Jung? Look this up.
...recently alluded to on the far-right Daily Wire while ruminating on the Book of Exodus.
Jung believed that part of what drove the Nazi spirit forward was the re-sacralization of the political. So Germany had collapsed into a godless materialist atheism in some real sense, and so that brought forth a deep longing for the archetypal gods, and Hitler provided that. They've rekindled the ancient gods, and Jung thought it was...
Yeah, I've been learning about the whole Jungian, I'm a fan of the whole Jungian stuff, like the archetypes and all that. I know a lot of people on the left aren't big fans of that stuff because they, for a lot of but I did not realize until recently, people have been trying to point out to me that Jung was like a Nazi sympathizer. I didn't know this. So I'm still learning this stuff. Let's check this article out that seems to talk about this. Maybe there's some truth to this. By the way, definitely subscribe to that channel. It's cool. I forgot about that channel, but I was already subscribed. So this is Carl Jung's psychoanalyzes Hitler. He's the unconsciousness of 78 million Germans. Damn. This is from, I don't know who wrote this, but let's just read it. Were you to Google Carl Jung and Nazism, I'm not suggesting that you do. You would find yourself hip deep in the charges that Jung was an anti-Semite and a Nazi sympathizer. Many sites condemn or exonerate him. Many others celebrate him as a blood and soil Aryan hero. It can nauseatingly difficult at times to tell these accounts apart. I agree with that. I'm not like a big fan of like psychoanalyzing people from the past, and I just, whatever. I get it though. What to make of this controversy? What is the evidence brought against the famed Swiss psychiatrist and one-time close friend, student, and colleague of Sigmund Freud? Truth be told, it does not look good for Jung. Ooh. Unlike Nietzsche, whose work was deliberately bastardized by Nazis, beginning with his own sister, Jung need not be taken out of context to read as anti-Semitic. I don't see that. See, I haven't read all of Jung's stuff. The only stuff I read about Jung was his Red Book and Man and Symbols, and a couple other stuff too. But mostly I stick to that stuff because it's like real, like it's into like stuff that I'm into. But I've never heard like his takes on like politics or anything. But anyways, let's keep reading this. There is no irony at work in the 1934 paper, The State of Psychotherapy Today, in which he marvels at National Socialism as a formidable phenomena and writes, the Aryan unconscious has higher potential than the Jewish. Wow, I did not know that. That's crazy. This is only one of the least objectionable statements, as a historian Andrew Samuels demonstrates. One Jungian defender admits in an essay collection called Lingering Shadows that Jung had been unconsciously infected by Nazi ideas. In response, psychologist John Conger asked, why not then say that he was unconsciously infected by anti-Semitic ideas as well? Well, before the Nazis came to power, he had expressed such thoughts as far back as 1918. Like the philosopher Heidegger, Jung was accused of trading on his professional associations during the 30s to maintain his status and turning on his Jewish colleagues while they were purged. Damn. This is long. I'm not going to read the whole thing. When did Carl Jung die? So he died in 1961. Oh wow, that's not even. So he was, yeah. So this was long after the Nazis were gone. He was still alive. That means he wrote the Red Book. He wrote the Red Book and after all that, yeah. So I wasn't when I read I've read the Red Book, and I read his last book too, Man and Symbols. And I didn't hear, I didn't pick up on anything like that in those two books. But hey, I don't know. I'm not an expert. Like that could be, that's something I'm about to look into like soon, like tonight probably. I'll probably start looking into that. That's crazy. That's crazy if that's true. But yeah. Holy Humanist, thanks for the super chat. Hey Neil, I love your work. First time saying hi. As an ex-Muslim woman, I always felt something was seriously off with JP. Thanks for highlighting this. Thank you for watching and the support. I really appreciate that. I've seen you around too, and definitely should get do some content together or something. Yeah, definitely soon. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, I don't know. Jordan Peterson. Oh yeah, Jordan Peterson too. Just to comment on what you just said, Holy Nuriah. He's been like really associating himself with the online Islamic community. I noticed that, which is interesting. Like, what does that tell us about like Jordan Peterson? I don't know. I'm not saying I had the answer to that, but it's interesting that he's doing that. He's really going out of his way to like do videos and associate with people in the online Islamic community. Never really thought much of it. I don't know what that really says about the guy, but he's like, it seems like he's more aligned with that side of of uh of society than he is with like someone, people on the left, environmentalists, other types of worldview, people with different worldviews. And he's a very, it seems like he's attracted to the patriarchal religious theocracy world. Jordan Peterson wants the world to be like, there's a pope, a king, a queen, and then there's like nobles, because he's talking about the hierarchy. He's always all about hierarchies. We need a hierarchy, and he wants the world to be like king, queen, pope, nobles, and then like everyone on the bottom working for those people to push them up. And so, and actually, that to be completely honest with you, that's very Nietzschean, because Nietzsche thought that the people on top should have all the resources so that they can thrive. The overmen, the ubermensch. The people on the bottom need to have to like just go for the ride and let the people on top take them to the promised land. And like, hopefully that you'll get some good crumbs from the people on top. That's the vibe I get from Nietzsche. Like, obviously I could be wrong. I'm not, I haven't read everything, but like, he does kind of make it seem like Nietzsche is like a very much an elitist. But like, that's what Jordan Peterson's like. Jordan Peterson, it seems like he wants there to be like a small amount of people on top with all the wealth who control people's lives, control the world the way he wants it to be, structured in a way like a feudalist society. That's what it seems like. Like, that's how Jordan Peterson comes off. He wants there to be hierarchy. He wants there to be like, the special elites on top control everything because they know better. That's what he wants, and like, he probably would admit that, So I don't know. I just wanted to come on here and talk about that. And I think, like I said, just to reiterate before I go, it started off with the Pope, and like, you got to give credit where it's due. I'm not saying that I'm gonna, I'm not saying that I'm gonna co-sign the Catholic Church right now, but at least you have somebody like the Pope who's at least pushing the needle in the right direction. Like, come on, you have to admit that. Am I right or am I right? Like, you have to admit, at least he's doing that. Jordan Peterson does not like that, though. So he had to come along and say,
there's nothing Christian about social justice.
And like I said, my boy Dan McClellan just tore him apart. He tore him apart. He really, I wasn't even going to do this video because of how bad it was. Like, you got to watch Dan McClellan just rip him apart in that and explain to him, no, Christianity has social justice. It's all over the Bible. It's all over the Bible. And I just thought, and I wasn't going to even do this video until I saw, oh yeah, this is some more people laughing at him for doing that fake tweet. Is there more? There were so many of these. Like, bro, it's a satirical post, bro. Undo that retweet. You think he's gonna undo that retweet? Nope. He wants to keep that up because he'd rather push fake news to like further his own worldview than admit that he was wrong and take it down. But anyways, he says, where is it?
Christofascist. Enough said about this scholar.
And as soon as I saw this tweet, I said, I'm making a video tonight. I'm going live. I'm talking about this shit because he knows he's wrong. He knows he's wrong. Just like this tweet right here. He knows this shit is fake. I bet you, I would bet my life. I would bet my life that Jordan Peterson right now knows this is fake and decided that it would be better to leave it up to push more fake narratives. For him, it's better to push the false narrative because the most people are going to see this and they're not going to look at the comments. They're not going to see the comments and see, bro, it's fake. You know what I mean? And then you have, bro, the satirical, bro, on tweet. Like, they're all telling him this. He's seeing the notifications. He's got to know this. He's got to know this. But he kept it up. He has, it's right, it's up there right now. Actually, before I go, let's just check it. Let's just see if it's up there. I bet you it is. I bet you it's still up there. Where's Jordan Peterson at? What, did I get blocked or something? Oh, I was gonna say, why can't see Jordan Peterson? All right. So, oh, by the way, just to highlight how many tweets this guy really puts out a day, it's gonna take me like 20 minutes to even find that tweet because he's retweeting every 5 seconds. 3 hours ago, 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 3 hours ago. He just keeps tweeting all day long. Like, I don't know how I'd be able to live with myself if I was tweeting this much. Like, don't you go insane? What the hell is that? What the fuck is he doing? Yo, what the hell is that? Did you see that? Holy shit. What was that? I don't even want to show that right now. His mind is in so many weird places, dude. He's just sitting there and like making himself go crazy because he's focused on so many things that are like not important. You know what I mean? Let's see, where is it? I'm still going down. I still haven't got to it yet. This was like today too. He just tweets all day long. It's just like, can you imagine doing that? Like, that's crazy.
The communist propaganda.
I wonder what he thinks about the author who thinks that communism comes from Christianity.
No, it doesn't. Of course it doesn't. No, don't tell me that. You're a liar.
Look at this shit. He's making himself lose his mind because he's just sitting there all day tweeting about shit. I would never be able to do this. I would lose my mind if I was like this. Just like sitting there like tweeting at people all day.
Joe Rogan, what do you think about this? Elon Musk, will you co-sign my shit, please?
I can't even find it. He's got so many tweets, I can't even find it. Here it is. Here it is. See, look, it took me a half an hour to find it. It was just, this is from today. This is from today, yo. I had to scroll through like 5 pages of tweets to find it. It's still there. He still has no idea. Let's look at the comments. Look at. Oh, how do you look at the comments? I gotta click on it. Yeah, I'm not like a Twitter person. Yeah, here we go. Somebody, sorry, this person did not detransition at all. It's actually a picture of a conservative FBI agent. So people are trolling him on this shit right now. Satirical post, undo that tweet. Look, at people believe it though. That's the problem, is that they're not reading the comments. They're just seeing the thing and they're commenting and they're reacting. That's the right-wing reactionary way to go. You see a fake post, you just fucking comment and then you retweet it. Don't check it. Make sure you don't check it, because if you check it, you'll find out it's not real. You know what I mean? Look at people actually. There's more people. This is the crazy thing. I'm glad I actually looked this up. There's more people that actually believe this tweet is real than are actually calling him out for being fake. Look at. Pretty sure both images are of shoe on head. Look at shoe on head. That's her right there. Real person, fake post. So she's actually shoe on head? Like, they all recognize her because she's famous. Congrats for your successful What? They actually think this is real. Mate, put down the phone. All due respect. Like, even his fans are like, bro, something's wrong with you, bro. Put down the phone, man. All due respect. People are laughing at him because they know it's not real. Shu is over here effing with Kinsey Scale again. Congratulations. Dude, people actually think this is real. Dude, come on, Jordan Peterson. I know you're online enough to recognize just Shoe on Head. That YouTuber Shoe on Head, LMAO, Jordan Peterson actually retweeted this and swallowed this parody raw. They're all trolling him. Dude, this is Shoe on Head, and she's trolling you, dude. Oh my God, Jordan Peterson retweeted this. Like, they're all like, it's, but you know what's more disturbing about this? What's more disturbing about this is that out of all those comments that I just went through, more than half of them are responding to it as if it's real. That's fucked up. Like, that's fucked up. He's literally just reposting fake shit as if it's real. That's so messed up, dude. I don't know. If that's your fucking hero, I don't know what's. You got to get your hero back on track. He's out. He's gone, man. His mind is gone. That dude, his mind is gone. And that's the Daily Wire's like. That's their franchise guy. Like, you know, that's their main fucking guy. Like, they, you know, that's their superstar. That's sad. I'm sorry, but that's sad. You have this old washed up PhD psychiatrist who lost his license and is just sitting there on Twitter tweeting fake shit all day long to people, trying to argue for some shit that's not real. So, I don't know. I'm gonna leave it at that. But anyways, guys, I'll talk to y'all later, and you have just attained true gnosis.
You have just attained true gnosis. The demiurge has no power over you.